Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
Hey, Mike, you're on with Steve.
Hey, Mike, it's a pleasure to talk to you. How you doing today?
Pleasure's all mine. I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. You know, right before you called, I read a statistic that blew my mind. Have you been doing martial arts for 30 years?
I guess something like that. 29 some change, I guess. Yeah.
Well, what made you do it for that long? How did you get into it? Because obviously you started really young if you've been doing it that long.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I always, like, my dad's Greek, and I don't know, I always felt just really weird, like, I was supposed to be some warrior, some reincarnated warrior, and I've been in martial arts my whole life, and I was always just wanting to, you know, test myself and you know, just different things, and I was always fascinated by martial arts, you know, and so I started training in traditional martial arts, you know, taekwondo, karate, just all kinds of stuff, and just basically through the years just kept going with it, never stopped. You know, I played soccer and then in high school, and as I got older, I just kept with the martial arts. People were making fun of me. It wasn't cool back then. And you know, I just kind of stuck with it, you know, and it's always been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to be world champion, and yeah, now I'm doing it for a living. It's pretty awesome, actually. I'm really living my dream. You know, it's what I want to do my whole life, and there's not a day that goes by I wake up and I'm not happy with my life, you know.
I get where you're coming from about it not always being cool, because you and I aren't so many years apart, and I remember when everybody thought it was like the Karate Kid and chopping blocks of ice.
Exactly.
It wasn't mixed martial arts like it is today.
Yeah, dude, I had girls tell me all the time, Mike, you know, you're handsome, you're this, you'd be so much cooler if you just, like, play football or, you know, wear a baseball shirt. I'm just like, that's not me, though. It's just, I'm sorry, I guess I'm not cool. I guess I'm not cool.
Well, you're cool
and it's funny, those same girls were Facebooking me, telling me, like, oh, you're awesome, you're this, you're that. Like, I always knew you'd be this. I'm just, like, blown away. I'm like, okay. Or a 360.
Well, it seems like
it's
that's
cool.
One of the things that Fightmaster picked up on right away was like, you were the handsome guy on the show. They had lots of long lingering shots of you on camera.
Oh, well, I'm glad they thought so, you know. Glad they thought so.
Oh, well, what do you rate that experience like? Because I've talked to a few different guys on that show, and some are like, well, I'm happy for the exposure, and others are like, well, it could have been bigger than it was.
Yeah, you know what? My experience was definitely different than everybody else's for many reasons. One, I was the underdog. I wasn't even supposed to make it to where I made it. Two, I knew what I was getting myself into. Everybody else had family, kids, jobs they were missing. They didn't know what it was like to fight 4 times in every, 6 weeks or whatever. I did. I did that early in my career. And, it was an amazing experience. You know, when I was flying down there, I read about who the coaches were, and the first guy I heard about was Randy Couture, and the first time I met Randy was in Strike Force. To backtrack a little bit, I didn't really meet him. His son was on the card riding with me. And when I saw Randy backstage as I was getting ready to go fight, I couldn't even open up my mouth to say hi. He was backstage with me, and I just wanted to say hi to him so bad. And when I picked him as my coach, and I made it to the finals, and after the finals, I went to live with him the whole summer in his house. We talked. We had a great experience together. We bonded. I told him that. It was just funny how things came full circle again, and went from not being able to say hi to him, kind of like, damn, that's Randy Couture, to living with him and, coming close with him. The whole experience, all in all, was just the best thing that ever happened to me, even losing and just being there with all the guys and, experiencing all that. And it was awesome, man. It was an experience of a lifetime for me. And I would do it all over again if I had to.
Well, you definitely had the best run out of everybody on the show other than Joe Riggs, because it was you and him at the very end, so can't take that away. You were the runner-up on the first and only season of Fightmaster.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Now, did you expect, based on that, being that you were the semifinalist, that you would immediately end up going outside of Bellator to take a few fights? Did you figure your next few fights were always going to be with Bellator?
No, I actually asked for my release and I had to buy my way out of my contract with Bjorn.
Oh,
I was very upset in the very end, and I really didn't care for my relationship with Bjorn and the things he said to me and promised me. And in the end, when I found out how just certain things with, not Bellator, Bjorn.
Right.
Okay. Bellator treated me great, but, just the situation with Riggs and the things that happened, I was betrayed in the end, and, Riggs told me about some certain coaches, not Randy or anybody in this current camp, but certain coaches had told him about my injuries leading up to the fight, and I was just really pissed off, and I was fighting for $100,000, and I left with nothing. Bjorn took everything from me that night, and I left with nothing. I left with a zero, and I had rent due, and I was just so furious. I just wanted out of my contract, and he made me buy out of it, so I did.
Dang.
And no, this is good because Scott Coker and Richard Chow are the man, and the men, and they really made Bellator so much better than what it was, and it's awesome. And I'm very happy to be a part of this family. Very, very happy. This dream come true,
Well, it's a good fit for a lot of people right now because ever since Scott Coker took over, we've seen a massive influx of guys who are like, I wasn't happy where I was, but I like Scott Coker and I respect him, which coincidentally is how we get the match that you're going to have on September 19th because Josh Thompson was unhappy. He knew Scott Coker of old, and boom, here's the fight.
Yeah, well, we both feel the same way about Mr. Coker and Richard Chow. So, it's definitely not a coincidence. It's just, it's the truth. They're awesome individuals, and they're making Bellator MMA what it is today. And, how can you not respect that? I love being a part of this company right now, and the things they're doing is awesome. So letting us be ourselves, it's great. It's great. I love it. Yeah. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Well, I'm sure the fans are going to love it too because that's a hometown fight for Thompson. So it's going to be a very rowdy crowd. Looking forward to that.
Yep.
That's got to be a little interesting for you as well, knowing you're going to be the villain in that scenario.
Yeah, I look at it like this. Realistically, yeah, that's the hometown guy. He's the hometown hero. That's what it's supposed to be. I know they're not going to like me, but in the end, I'm going to win them over, and I'm going to make them love me. By my performance and my heart and just who I am. Nothing that I'm going to do other than just be me. And that's my goal.
I can't disagree with that, but at the same time, it's got to feel like you've got a lot of experience and he's got a lot of experience and you're both coming into this fight with a lot to gain in front of, they call these the tentpole events now. Like Dynamite 1 is the tentpole. They're going to have 3 or 4 of these mega shows a year. So it's even more important to get a win on one of these shows.
This is definitely the most important fight of my career, and I definitely plan on capitalizing on this opportunity. You can bet your ass on that.
What's the way you're going to do it? I mean, obviously, you had the situation the last time out in Bellator where you got taken advantage of, but this time you got everything straightened out and nobody knows anything going in that's going to put you at a disadvantage. But how do you take advantage of that?
Well, the way I'm going to win this fight and the way I'm going to take advantage of it is just by fighting my fight. And, I believe when I fight my fight, which I'll be able to do, I'm going to win. And I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity. I don't think Josh has any weaknesses or any holes in his game other than the fact that he may not be wanting to continue his career. I've heard him say in an interview he maybe has one fight left in him. So that lets me know where his mind's at. His mind, he's been there, he's done that. He may or may not be as hungry as he used to be. He was world champion. He's still one of the greatest fighters of all time in the lightweight division. But I really believe I can take his words and use them against him and make him revisit those thoughts. Does he really want this? And I plan on out-harding him. And it's going to come down to a battle of wills. And my will can't be broke. And I'm going to make sure I enforce it. And let him feel that I'm here to win. So we'll see how it goes. I know how it's going to go. We're just going to all have to watch how it plays out.
Well, I'm going to find out about his heart in a few hours because I'm going to interview him later today, and I want to find out how badly he really wants it because in that fight with Tony Ferguson, he looked really off. It didn't look like he wanted it in that fight.
Well, sometimes people have bad nights, maybe he had a bad night. Who knows? And like I said, we don't really know what's going through his mind. He may be able to say one thing and he might be feeling another. You never know, but the truth will speak for itself when we fight that night. And I hope he comes in prepared. I feel like it's going to be the best fight on the card. I really do. And it's definitely going to be fireworks and it'll definitely be dynamite. I expect him to come in tip-top shape. make his name in the Bellator for that night, and it's going to be fun. We're going to put on one hell of a show, and I know that. It ain't going to be a boring fight at all.
No, I expect not. They wouldn't put it on the main card if it wasn't going to be dynamite, literally, so.
Yeah, I know.
But let me ask
I'm excited. I'm really excited. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all right. I just want to know because most of your dynamite finishes have been KO knockouts, dynamite with the hands. We haven't. Go ahead.
Yeah. I've been working with Healy and Gracie. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just submitted a guy that was supposed to get signed to the UFC, Justin Reisler. I choked him out in my first lightweight match in Legacy. Yeah, I've been working diligently on my submissions with Professor Homolo, who's a 5th-degree black belt, with Healy and Gracie, and just a bunch of other black belts. I've never done gi jiu-jitsu, and I just started in the last couple of years. So it's really upped my game. They couldn't believe I made it this far in my career without jiu-jitsu. And yeah, I'm a whole different fighter now. I mean, I practice with champion Thai boxers. I practice with world champion jiu-jitsu guys and, wrestlers, and I don't really focus on the MMA part. I just kind of do each art now, and, I'm able to put it all together myself, and that's why my game's gone better. I'm actually focusing on each art. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, I guess ironically that makes you a fight master because you're mastering each art and making it part of your game.
Yeah, I guess so.
But let me ask you really quick
that was a good one.
Legacy, because you won the vacant Legacy title, right? Did you have to vacate that to come back to Bellator?
Yeah, I believe it's vacated. I don't plan on going back to Legacy. I plan on taking the Bellator world title after this fight. So, Legacy was great promotion, but it's time to move on with my career and stake my claim as the world champion from Bellator. And this is the first step, getting through Josh Thompson and showing the world that I'm worthy of that title shot.
Well, yeah. I mean, you beat a former champion in Strikeforce. That's definitely putting you on the short list for guys to face Will Brooks. So is it something you've already mentally planned for? Is how you would fight him?
Which one, Will Brooks or Josh Thompson?
Well, yeah, presuming you win the fight with Thompson, you've already got a game plan for Brooks.
I mean, my game's gonna stay the same. I mean, I don't care how good of a wrestler anybody is or whatever. I've faced them all, the best wrestlers. I'm a wrestler's worst nightmare. I'm gonna win against Josh, and then whoever else they put in front of me, I'm gonna win. It doesn't matter what they can do, what they specialize in. You can't teach heart, and you can't teach the will that I've got, Will Brooks is Will Brooks, but he doesn't have the will that I've got in my heart, so. I'm going to fight my fight, and I believe my style beats all their styles put together. You can't compete with that. I'm like Randy Couture with Lyoto Machida stand-up, so that's going to be a tough one to beat.
You're just hitting me with all kinds of awesome quotes here, but this is good because Will Brooks he's the master of the quotes too. He's one of the most quotable guys in Bellator, so if this does happen, we're going to have great quotes from both sides.
Well, let me tell you something. I am the Greek Conor McGregor, but of the Bellator. And like I told them before, they have no idea what they signed, but I'm going to show them September 19th, and I'm going to take over this organization by storm.
As much as I love Conor, I almost wonder if he went a little too far calling out Donald Cerrone. I questioned the idea of that one, the two of them in those two weight classes.
Hey, either way, I mean, I used to train with Donald. He's one tough son of a gun. He's awesome, dude, but how can you not like Conor McGregor, man? That guy, has you laughing and entertained, and he's entertainment, man. He's doing his thing, and you have to respect that,
He's definitely an entertainer, and I think he's going to bring back Ultimate Fighter. It seems like it's been lagging for a while, but he's going to get some hype back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to do something because that show is doing terrible. It's not entertaining anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought was going to be about Fight Master. I was like, it's changing up the idea. It's a whole new format, a whole new way of structuring it. The fighters pick the coaches instead of the other way around. It seemed like on paper it was the answer to Ultimate Fighter.
It really did. I thought it was an amazing show. We had some amazing fights. We had good characters on the show. It was very entertaining. I don't know what happened. Maybe it wasn't promoted right. Maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you. It's not my field. I did my part. I kicked ass and gave people something to talk about. But I don't think they did the promoting side on their part. That's what I think.
Well, it was a different regime and a different era, so now you got a fresh start with Scott Coker and a brand new Bellator, so things will be going only better from this point forward.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. I believe in them, and I believe they believe in me, so it's going to be a good win-win situation for all of us. We're all going to love it, including the fans.
All right, well, speaking of win-win, before September 19th, before the big fight at the SAP Center, let's get out some social media plugs and some sponsors.
Okay. My sponsors are Nico Nikos, Cyclone Cycles, Aqua Hand Car Wash and Detail, Itasca Vapes, Italianos, Excel Freight Systems, and Hayabusa. MMA clothing. My gyms are Healy and Gracie Academy and Revolution Dojo.
Well, and social media, because everybody's got to be following the Greek Mike Bronzoulis before and after this fight.
You can hit me up on the Greek Mike B, Instagram, and on Twitter. That's it.
All right. Well, Mike, I really appreciate the time. Got a very tough test coming up with the punk, Josh Thompson, but it sounds like you want to punk him out on September 19th, so we're going to see how that goes.
Not so much punk him out, but put him out.
You've got those Golden Greek hands, so that may be the case. He may not know what to hit him.
Yeah, I realize I have a very tough test ahead of me, but so does he, buddy. So does he. And we're gonna definitely make a great fight that night. So I plan on that being the fight of the night that everyone's gonna be talking about. I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Alex too. And I can't wait to see this fight.
Me too, man. I can't wait to see myself fight. Thank you very much. Have a great day, man.
You too.